in a scandal about, child prostitution run out of a pizza place than there is in, any actual financial misdeeds,
honestly,
whether or not they happen,
I have a certain opinion about these types of people who believe in all of this, right? And we know that they tend to be less educated, who are working class, who are the type of certain category of white people such that they do feel oppressed in some way. In other words, they're not the successful white people, right? And
I think if the final thing in Trump's takeover of society will replace e pluribus unum with "you think you're better than me."
Yeah. But I believe those people, they're so susceptible to the suggestibility of conspiracy theories because they themselves have kind of a inferiority complex,
right,
and feeling like they know something that the elite don't know is a way to feel better about themselves. And it kind of just goes back to something with mental health issues, and like if people were taught more about how to handle their own mental health and how to cope with being at peace with wherever they fall in the hierarchy, and that they would feel like they still you still matter, even if you're working class, you have value, you have worth as a person. If they could believe that empowerment would allow them to kind of break free of the spell that believing these conspiracy theories has. Because for them, I think it's the only way they feel empowerment is by buying into this to kind of put down the people who actually are higher than them on the totem pole of life.
Well, which is the problem of being, when a child is born, their brain is a blank slate. And depending on who your father is or mother is, who's going to apply this BS into your head, and then all of a sudden you grow up. It's kind of like being the son of David Duke. Okay, can you imagine David Duke, your grandfather, and your father, your grandfather? These guys are all the grand poobahs of
grand wizards, grand dragons.
Yeah, of this, and then you, 23 years old, you get a little nod. Hey, man, this is some bullshit. This shit ain't right. Hey, you're not following along with the group. And so he told his dad, I'm not joining. So someone's got to break the generational curse, and you have to be able to take your parents' generation to a whole new level. But that's got to be the new knowledge. You got to be able to sift through the bullshit. Some guys aren't strong enough, and they buy, and they go right in and they join this particular group instead of fighting for the right to be the individual who you are, by following your own thoughts and your own feelings on certain things and go, you know what, that just doesn't sound right to me. I'm going to do a little bit more research on that, and you come into your own. But when you start thinking that, well, someone's attacking me, someone's saying this about me. No, that's you falling into, and when you do that, you are going to be stuck on the side of the fence of the individual, and the group is going to be on the other side, and you just have to be able to stand your ground and believe what you believe.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is all kind of the conspiracy theory believing people. It's a version of what we have among Latinos, and it's also among Black people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of like, you think you're better than me? Right. Or what, you think you're better than me? That crabs in the bucket or frogs in the bucket.
Right.
In the case of white people, it's you think you're better than me because you know about things that are true. I'm going to tell you a thing that I think is true. Right. They bet you didn't know.
Well, they also should be questioning the elite for making asses out of them. Because remember, it was the powers that be that told them that the immigrant, that the Hispanic is taking his job, or the African American is taking your job. Every time that they see blacks moving forward, then they sent the poor whites in to burn down the towns that were following what you wanted. You said, okay, you don't want me to be a part of your life? Okay, I'll build my city over here, and I won't bother you, and I'll build my own schools, and then all of a sudden they say, oh no, they raped a white woman. Okay, that gives us reason to go in, burn it down, and kill people and whatnot, which continues this, this message of, they're out to get us, and the white man's the boogeyman, but yet you guys bought into, you're letting someone lead you without seeing that it's just about people trying to take care of their kids just like you.
Right, but it's, the whole idea, and it's, I'm not saying it's genius, but it's a time-tested approach to maintaining power, you keep the people beneath you fighting amongst themselves, and they will not think about teaming up to fight against you. And I mean, I've worked in offices where this was, the sort of the political mandate of the office, where the bosses hung on to things by keeping the employees fighting amongst each other. Yeah. And we're seeing that start to happen now with our trade policy, with the trade war that Trump is trying to start this week. With it's a 25% tariff on steel and 10% tariff on aluminum. And this is going out against Canada, Mexico, our allies in the European Union. And honestly, I think as Americans, we've seen Trump win an election and maintain his power by keeping people fighting amongst themselves. Right. And the idea is that these conspiracy-minded idiots are just the regular morons that don't need to believe in conspiracies to be ignorant enough to support Trump. You keep them hating the liberals, they aren't going to notice, it's just all more fake news that your tax cuts, give 83% of the benefits to 1% of the population, and it isn't them.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that little kid exposed, they got exposed and just took a peep through the curtain when that little boy showed up at that news conference and exposed their ass, and you saw her break.
Yeah, but you know what? The story became, Sarah Huckabee Sanders has an ounce of compassion. The story should have been White House still not doing jack shit in the face of questioning by 13-year-old. Right. She's almost human. Her smoky eye was disturbed by her falling tear. Fuck that noise.
Is it a smoky eye?
Yeah.
A perfect smoky eye. Give her credit where it's due. But no, I mean, come on, that is such bullshit. She has a heart. No, she's fucking heartless, and she.
Because she didn't miss a beat. She went right back into her set. As soon as that kid sat down, and by the way, so and so, she went back. That tear dried up, and she went right
Honestly,
back.
I have
we're
a
having
feeling,
meetings on that.
I have a feeling there is so much more to the Sarah Huckabee Sanders story. Like, there's got to be more to this character. Or maybe I've been watching too many episodes of SVU. But, so there was this episode last night that I was...
Oh, you watch SVU?
Oh, all the time. I'm, addicted to that show. But there was this woman who was, a terrorist, but she was, the girlfriend of a terrorist. But then actually, they had, really abused her, so she was going along for the ride because of some kind of a power dynamic, right? The lady still went to jail. Also, this is fiction.
Fiction, where the criminals go to jail.
But it made me think about Sarah Huckabee Sanders and how we see someone here who has who seems to have no feelings or emotions, is just buying into this wholesale. But then we see her break. And I wonder if, is she somehow under duress where she's doing this? Because I feel like wouldn't any sane person quit? Like Sean Spicer, he quit. All these guys.
I think.
Remember, she's a Huckabee, so her dad is back. Her dad, she probably talks to her father every night.
She's been training. Been training for this all her life.
As they sit back and eat.
I bet there's
her
something.
Her brother killed a dog. Her dad is Mike Huckabee. She's been dealing with being, a face of dickishness and tragedy.
Thing is, women can be manipulated in so many ways, right?
Well,
by the powerful men around them, and I have a feeling there's something there. Maybe he's going to write her out of
exclusive to women,
and it's good coming from you saying that, because that's something that's never talked about. Women being manipulated by men. I think that's a good point. It's a very good point. I've never heard really women ever talk about that, of saying how other women, because women know women, men know men, and to say that, how they've been manipulated.
That's Roseanne Zambian.
Yeah.
It happens, but that's no excuse. Case by case, You get this woman in the SVU episode. You get Patty Hearst.
Right.
It happens. Stockholm syndrome is a thing. But
I mean, I'm not even talking Stockholm syndrome. I have a feeling that her father's probably like, okay, if you don't do this, you're out of the will, or I'm disowning you, or I'm going to do this to your kid. Like something's going to happen to her kids, and that's why she's like that. Because if she broke, she's not a person without compassion. There's something under there, and there's a reason she has to sell it like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that the kid probably... that's what I'm saying, the kid exposed. That was a part of her I had not seen. I'm not giving her a pass because she cried. I'm giving her a pass that for 1 minute, that mask that you've been having all the time, the mask was exposed. And it's like, you know what? No. Your ass, somebody's directing you. And I wouldn't be surprised if the father, while he's sitting there eating fried squirrel and biscuits in a Coke, that's his favorite meal, by the way. That's what he loves to.
So someone's black. Someone's got something on her. Did you guys read much about that NXIVM cult? Yeah. It's like a sex slave cult.
That's the thing with Allison Mack from Smallville.
Why would she join that?
Well, she was the cult leader's like right-hand person. Like at one point when they were branding people, eventually,
branding?
with the guy Kenneth Rainier's initials, they started also adding part of it that was her initials. It was like KRAM when they were branding. Yeah,
didn't she try to recruit some other actresses or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's gonna get some time for this, right?
Oh, I hope so.
Likely.
Who's the guy?
This week on a very special Smallville.
Kenneth Rainier. Yeah, there's legal stuff going on. They're in the process.
Who is he? Is he like some?
He's just some guy who used to do like some pyramid schemes, and then eventually he fell into running a cult. And it's like one of those self-empowerment cults. But apparently, to join the cult, to become a part of it, you had to give up something to them that showed that you trusted them. But what it is you give them blackmail material.
Yeah,
you give them nudes. You give them
Scientologists have been doing it for years.
You give them like the deed to your house, where if you betray them, they get your house.
Who was the guy that did the comet? They were jumping on the comet.
The Heaven's Gate people.
Yeah. Do you know they remove their balls and they put them in jars, so you have to go by and see your nuts sitting in a jar. I was like, I couldn't do that. It took me so long to get this far. Please, Tymon, hand over your ball. No!
That's what relationships are for.
I don't think we're going to find out exactly what's going on with Sarah Huckabee Sanders, like the truth of it. I don't think we're going to find it out for a decade or maybe 2 decades.
She'll be in therapy when this is over. She'll be definitely in therapy. She's probably in therapy now.
She's 100%. In my opinion, being manipulated somehow. Someone is pulling strings, and she cannot get out of it, like a cult member.
Right.
She's in it.
Because Spicer probably snapped. He said, "Look, man, I'm jumping out the window. I got to get out of this shit." And he exits stage right. I'm gone. But she's right there. I mean, she spins that shit. If Trump told her that everybody should be sticking carrots in their ass today, everybody would. Well, what he meant by that?
She'd come out with a dress full of rabbits.
Yes, yeah. It would be. I was like, how do you do that? How do you do it? It's just you know this guy's full of shit.
I do think the people around him are in a cult. All these people, like, as much as I'd love to hold them all accountable for their actions. And maybe they should be, but I think they are kind of cult members who have been manipulated by somebody. Yeah,
but you know what? As we learned from the Nuremberg trials, just following orders isn't really a viable defense.
It's not.
And that's the thing. With Spicer and the people who have left of their own volition, not the ones who've been fired for, rank incompetent. Like, how incompetent do you have to be too incompetent to be part of this administration? I hope we never find out. But the people who've left of their own volition, I think had that proverbial come to Jesus moment of like, I can't do this anymore.
Scaramucci, the old Scare man was going to be there, man. Old Scary.
Yeah, and Scary's still carrying water for
Scary Coochie.
Yeah, Scary Coochie. Yeah.
He's one of the Chris Christie, another one. Where they're still so sad about being kicked out of the club that they figure if they keep their nose up there long enough, they're going to get invited back. And it's like, no, see the truth of what's going on around you.
Yeah.
Why are you still defending this shit? It says so much more about them.
Yeah.
That, I don't understand, why are people viewing these folks as leaders. They're not.
Their reality has been distorted.
No, why
by
would now
all the theories.
Dave? I don't know if you had this down, but Kim Kardashian went to the White House.
Right. And say what you will, I called it the meeting of the mindless. People said the two biggest asses in the country in one room. And it is ridiculous. But I will give her props. And
You're